Today's topic is Introduction to Thorax and Thoracic Cage Overview. The human body is divided into upper trunk and lower trunk. Thorax is located in the upper part of trunk. In general usage, the term chest is used instead of thorax. The cavity of trunk is divided by diaphragm, a muscle, into an upper part called thoracic cavity and a lower part called abdominal cavity. The thoracic cavity contains the principal organs of respiration, the lungs. The lungs are separated from each other by a bulky and movable median septum, the mediastinum. The principal structures in the mediastinum are heart and great vessels. The green color part is the mediastinum. We will discuss about the mediastinum later. The thorax is supported by a skeletal framework called thoracic cage. It provides attachment to muscles of thorax, upper extremities, back and diaphragmatic muscles. It is osteocartilaginous. Osteocartilaginous means it is composed of a bone and a cartilage, and it is elastic in nature. The thoracic cage is formed anteriorly by sternum. It is also known as breastbone, and posteriorly by 12 thoracic vertebrae and intervening intervertebral disc. Laterally on each side by 12 pairs of ribs and associated 12 pairs of costal cartilages, the blue part. Let me show that in a 3D animation. So anteriorly, the thoracic cage is formed by sternum, manubrium sternum, body of sternum and xiphoid process. This is the sternum part. So posteriorly by 12 thoracic vertebrae and intervening intervertebral disc. Posteriorly, let me zoom. So this one is the first thoracic vertebrae and this one is the 12 thoracic vertebrae and intervening intervertebral disc. So let me dissect the vertebral bodies so that you can see the intervertebral disc. Here you can see the intervertebral disc. So laterally on each side by 12 pairs of ribs and associated 12 pairs of costal cartilage. That is the first rib, second rib, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th and 11th and 12th ribs. Costal cartilages, the blue color part. First costal cartilage, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th and 11th and 12th ribs have very small costal cartilage. Right, 11th and 12th costal cartilage. So we discussed about thoracic cage. Now we are going to discuss about rib cage. So the rib cage is formed by sternum and costal cartilages, the blue color part, and ribs attached to the thoracic vertebrae. Ribs attached to the thoracic vertebrae. So posteriorly, all the ribs articulates with the thoracic vertebrae. Articulates means connection with the joint. So this vertebrae, first rib articulates with the first thoracic vertebra. So anteriorly The upper 7 ribs 1 to 7 articulate with the side of sternum through their costal cartilages. The upper 7 ribs, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The upper 7 ribs articulate with the side of sternum through costal cartilages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 costal cartilages. The next 3 ribs, 8th, 9th and 10th, articulate with each other through their costal cartilages. 8th rib, 9th rib, 10th rib, they articulate with each other through their costal cartilages. 7th costal, 8th costal, 9th costal and 10th costal. So the lower 2 ribs, 11th and 12th rib, they do not articulate and anterior ends of their costal cartilages are free. This is the 11th rib, 12th rib, they do not articulate. Their anterior ends of costal cartilages are free. So the shape of the thoracic cage resembles a truncated cone. A cone looks like this. If you divide the cone into half, it looks like this. So the thoracic cage resembles a truncated cone. The thoracic cavity communicates with the root of the neck through a narrow opening called thoracic inlet. It is also known as superior thoracic aperture. So let's discuss about the boundaries. So before doing that, I will show you the thoracic inlet. The red line is the thoracic inlet. So the boundaries of the thoracic inlet. So anteriorly by superior or upper border of manubrium sterni and posteriorly anterior border of superior surface of the body of thoracic one vertebra and laterally on each side by medial border. This one is the medial side, medial border of first rib and its cartilage. So the thoracic inlet resembles reniform or kidney shape. It looks like this, kidney shape. So the part of the thoracic inlet, on either side is closed by a dense facial sheet called sibson's fascia. It is also known as suprapleural membrane or diaphragm of superior thoracic aperture. Here is the sibson fascia on either side. So let's discuss about the attachment and relations of the sibson fascia. The apex of the sibson fascia, this is the apex of the sibson fascia, is attached to the tip of the transverse process of C7 vertebra. Transverse process of C7 vertebra means transverse section. So it is named as transverse process of C7 vertebra. The base of the sibson fascia is attached to the inner border of first rib and its costal cartilage. Its superior surface is related to subclavian vessels. Subclavian vessels, let me show that for you. Superior border. Superior surface is related to subclavian artery and veins. And the inferior surface is related to cervical pleura. Cervical pleura is a fluid membrane that covers the apex of the lungs. This is the lung, apex of the lung. This one is the cervical pleura. So let me discuss about the function of sibson fascia. Sibson fascia, it protects the sibson fascia, it protects the underlying cervical pleura, beneath which lies the apex of the lungs. It resists the intrathoracic pressure during respiration, the pressure within the thoracic cavity. So I will discuss about the structure passing through the thoracic inlet. I created a mnemonic for that. So the muscles that passes through thoracic inlet, there are three muscles that passes through the thoracic inlet: sternohyoid, sternothyroid, and longus colli, and longus cervicis. This is same. Cervices or colli, both are same. So you need to remember these three muscles. The arteries that passes through thoracic inlet. Arteries, for the arteries I get a mnemonic: tuberculosis, TB in sick cat, tuberculosis in sick cat. T stands for thoracic artery, right and left internal thoracic artery. B stands for brachiocephalic artery, and IN stand for intercostal arteries, right and left superior intercostal arteries. Sick cat, yes, sick cat. S stand for subclavian artery, left subclavian artery, and C, the C stands for common carotid artery, left common carotid artery. I repeat, T stand for right and left internal thoracic arteries. B stand for brachiocephalic artery, and IN stand for right and left superior intercostal arteries, and S stand for left subclavian artery, and C stand for left common carotid artery. The nerves that passes through thoracic inlet are, so I create a mnemonic for that also. PS, very low thing. PS, PlayStation. PlayStation is not good for your mental health, so it's a very low thing to have. So PS, very low thing. So P stand for phrenic nerve, right and left phrenic nerve. S stands for sympathetic chain, right and left sympathetic chain. V stands for vagus nerve, right and left vagus nerve. L stands for left recurrent laryngeal nerve, and T stands for right and left first thoracic nerves. Let me repeat. P stands for phrenic nerve, right and left phrenic nerve. S stands for right and left sympathetic chain, and V stands for right and left vagus nerve, and L stands for left recurrent laryngeal nerve, and T stands for right and left first thoracic nerve. Veins that passing through the thoracic inlets. For that I created a mnemonic: BP in thyroid, blood pressure in thyroid. So B stands for brachiocephalic vein, and PIN. P stands for posterior intercostal veins, right and left first posterior intercostal vein, and thyroid. T stands for inferior thyroid vein. Again I repeat, B stands for brachiocephalic vein, right and left brachiocephalic vein, and P and IN stands for right and left first posterior intercostal veins, and T stands for inferior thyroid vein. The other structures that are passing through the thoracic inlets, for that I created a mnemonic: ECAT, electronic cat. E stands for esophagus. C stands for right and left domes of cervical pleura, and A stands for apices of right and left lung, and T stands for trachea. Again I repeat, E stands for esophagus, C stands for cervical pleura, right and left domes of cervical pleura, and A stands for apices of right and left lung, and T stands for trachea. So let's discuss about the thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet. The thoracic outlet, the red color line, is a broad and it surrounds the upper part of abdominal cavity. It is also known as inferior thoracic aperture. The diaphragm is attached to the margins of the thoracic outlet and it separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Here you can see the diaphragm is attached. The diaphragm is attached to the margin of the margin. The diaphragm is attached to the margin of the thoracic outlet. It separates the thoracic cavity. It separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. So let's discuss about the boundaries of the thoracic outlet. Anteriorly by xiphoesternal joint, posteriorly by body of 12th thoracic vertebra, this one, and laterally on each side coastal margin of 11th and 12th rib. 11th and 12th rib, coastal margins of 11th and 12th rib. So the thoracic outlet is closed by a large dome-shaped flat muscle called diaphragm. This is the diaphragmatic muscle. The one. Since it separates thoracic cavity from abdominal cavity, it is also termed as thoraco-abdominal diaphragm. So the diaphragm is the principal muscle of respiration. It is dome shaped. What is meant by dome shape? Dome. It looks like this. It's the dome. So dome shape. It consists of peripheral muscular part and central fibrous part called central tendon. This part is the central tendon, fibrous part. Let's discuss about the origin of the diaphragm. The origin of the diaphragm is divided into three parts. Sternal, costal and vertebral. So the vertebral part arises. The vertebral part arises by means of right and left crura of the diaphragm and 5 arcuate ligaments. The word crura meaning leg in Latin language. They have leg-shaped appearance. Let me show that for you. This is the right crurus and this is the left crurus. It looks like a leg. So in Latin language, crurus means leg. So the 5 arcuate ligaments are median arcuate ligament, medial arcuate ligament and lateral arcuate ligament. Median arcuate ligament. There is one median arcuate ligament and lateral arcuate ligament. Lateral left lateral arcuate, right lateral arcuate ligament, and right medial arcuate and left medial arcuate ligament. Let's discuss about the insertion of the diaphragmatic muscles. So the muscle fibers converge towards the central tendon. The muscle fibers converge towards the central tendon and insert it into the margin of the central tendon. So this one is the central tendon. The muscle fibers converge towards the central tendon and inserts into the margin. So next let's discuss about the surfaces and relations. The superior surface of diaphragm. So the superior surface of diaphragm projects on either side as dome shape into the thoracic cavity. Depressed area between the two domes is called central tendon. This one, central depressed area. The superior surface is covered by endothoracic fascia. Again, the word fascia means a flat band of tissue below the skin that covers underlying tissue. It also covers the muscles. So the inferior surface of diaphragm is lined by diaphragmatic fascia. So on the right side it is related to right lobe of the river. On the right side it is related to right lobe of the river and the right kidney and right suprarenal gland. On the left side it is related to left lobe of the river, fundus of the stomach, spleen, left kidney and left suprarenal gland. Let's discuss about the openings of the diaphragm. It is classified into two types, major openings and minor openings. There are three named major openings. First one is vena cava opening, this one, esophageal opening and aortic opening. Opening or hiatus or foramina, all are synonyms, all are similar words. So the location, shape and vertebral levels of these openings, I created a tabular column for that with mnemonics to remember it in a very easier way. Let's see that. Openings, location, shape, vertebral level. First opening is vena cava opening. It is located in the central tendon, slightly to the right median plane. So this one. This is the median plane. It is located in the central tendon. This one is the central tendon, the depressed area, the white color, central tendon. So vena cava. So here is the vena cava. So it is located slightly right of the medial plane. So it is quadrangular in shape. So it is located at the vertebrate level T8. Next opening is esophageal opening. It is located slightly to the left of median plane. Same like before. This is the median plane. It is located slightly to this is the esophagus. This located slightly to the left of the medial plane. And its shape is oval shape or elliptical. It is located at the vertebrate level T10. An aortic opening or aortic hiatus. It is located in the midline behind the median arcuate ligament. So the shape is circular or round. You can remember simple like this. This one is Q. If you remove this spot, it becomes oval. If you remove this spot, it becomes C. So quadrangular, oval, circular. Vertebrate level T8 plus 2 T10 plus 2 T12. So the structures that passes through this hiatus or foramina or opening of the vena cava, esophagus, aortic, or I created mnemonic for this. So VIP. V stands for vena cava, I stands for inferior vena cava, P stands for phrenic nerve. So how to remember this is right or left? So always remember VIP is always a right person, so it is right phrenic nerve. Again I repeat, V stands for vena cava, I stands for inferior vena cava, P stands for phrenic nerve. VIP is always a right person, so it is a right phrenic nerve. Next one is esophagus. So the word vena cava contain 8 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 letters. So it is located at the vertebrate level T8. So next, esophagus. I created a mnemonic for that also. The mnemonic is vlog. VLOG, vlog. V stands for vagal trunks, L stands for left, and O stands for esophagus, and G stands for gastric artery. So this L left joins the gastric artery. So again I repeat, V stands for vagal trunk, right and left vagal trunk, L left, O esophagus, and G gastric artery. So this L left joins gastric artery. So left gastric artery. The word esophagus contains 10 letters. So it is located at the vertebrae level T10. The aortic hiatus or aortic opening, I created a mnemonic for that also. Aorta. Aorta means a powder for chapati making. So A stands for aorta, and T stands for thoracic duct, and A stands for azygos vein. Mistake, this one is wrong. Azygos vein. So the aortic hiatus. So I included hiatus to make it look like it has 12 letters. Aortic hiatus has 12 letters. So it is located at the vertebrate level T12. So this one is wrong. This one is azygos vein. So let's discuss about the minor openings. So I created a mnemonic for the structures that passes through the minor openings. It has no meaning, but it will help you to remember the structures in a very easier method. He, in, me, triple S. The word, the two letters HE stands for hemiazygos vein, and the letters IN stands for intercostal nerves, lower 5 intercostal nerves and vessels. The letter M stands for musculophrenic artery, and the letter E stands for epigastric vessel, superior epigastric vessel, and the first letter S stands for subcostal nerves and vessels. Second S stands for sympathetic chain, and third S stands for splanchnic nerves, greater, lesser, and least splanchnic nerves. Again I repeat, the letters HE stands for hemiazygos vein, and IN stands for intercostal nerves and vessels, lower 5 intercostal nerves and vessels, and the letter M stands for musculophrenic artery, and the letter E stands for epigastric vessel, superior epigastric vessel, and the S stands for subcostal nerves and vessels, and the second S stands for sympathetic chain, and third S stands for splanchnic nerves, greater, lesser and least splanchnic nerves. Let's discuss about the nerve supply of the diaphragm. The diaphragm is supplied by right phrenic nerve and left phrenic nerve, lower 5 intercostal and subcostal nerves. The phrenic nerves are both motor and sensory. The words motor and sensory means the motor neuron. It means the motor neuron. It is also known as efferent nerves. It carries signals from the central nervous system to the outer parts of your body. Outer parts of your body, for example, muscles, skin and glands. The sensory neuron is also known as afferent nerves. The sensory neurons carry signals from the outer part of your body into the central nervous system. The phrenic nerves are both motor and sensory. So the right phrenic nerve provides motor innervation to the right half of the diaphragm up to the right margin of esophageal opening, and the left phrenic nerve provides motor innervation to the left half of the diaphragm up to the left margin of the esophageal opening. So the phrenic nerves provides sensor innervation. We discussed about the motor innervation before. Now sensor innervation of the phrenic nerve. The phrenic nerves provide sensor innervation to the central tendon, the white color central tendon of the diaphragm and pleura. So I created a mnemonic for that. I forgot to include that. So the mnemonic for the nerve supply is PINS, pins. The letter P stands for phrenic nerve, right and left phrenic nerve, and the letters IN stands for intercostal nerves, lower 5 intercostal nerves, and the S stands for subcostal nerves. Again I repeat, P stands for phrenic nerves, right and left phrenic nerve, IN stands for intercostal nerves, lower 5 intercostal nerves, and the S stands for subcostal nerves. So let's discuss about the arterial supply. So I created a mnemonic for the arterial supply of the diaphragm. The mnemonic is in, me, triple P. So the letters I, N stands for intercostal arteries, lower 5 intercostal arteries, and letter M stands for musculophrenic artery, and the letter E stands for epigastric arteries, superior epigastric arteries. The first letter P stands for superior phrenic artery, second P stands for inferior phrenic arteries, and the third P stands for pericardiophrentic arteries. Again I repeat, the mnemonic is in, me, triple P. IN stands for intercostal arteries, lower 5 intercostal arteries. M stands for musculophrenic arteries. E stands for epigastric arteries, superior epigastric arteries. P stands for superior phrenic arteries. The second P stands for inferior phrenic arteries, and the third P stands for pericardiophrentic arteries. So let's discuss about the lymphatic drainage. So I created a mnemonic for the lymph nodes that passes through the diaphragm. The mnemonic is aperture. The letter A stands for anterior diaphragmatic lymph node, P stands for posterior diaphragmatic lymph node, and letters R, L stands for right lateral diaphragmatic lymph node, and L stands for left lateral diaphragmatic lymph nodes. Again I repeat, A stands for anterior diaphragmatic lymph nodes, P stands for posterior diaphragmatic lymph nodes, RL stands for right lateral diaphragmatic lymph nodes, LL stands for left lateral diaphragmatic lymph nodes. Discuss about the actions of diaphragm. The diaphragm acts as a muscle of inspiration abdominal staining, weightlifting, and as a thoracomuscular pump, and as a sphincter of esophagus. So the muscle of inspiration. So the diaphragm is the main principal muscle of respiration. When it contracts, when the diaphragm contracts, it descends. It descends and it increases the vertical diameter. This is vertical diameter of the thoracic cavity. So it acts as a muscle of abdominal staining. The contraction of diaphragm along with the contraction of muscles of anterior abdominal wall raises the intra-abdominal pressure, the pressure within the abdominal cavity, to evacuate the pelvic contents, like happens during defecation and vomiting. It is known as voluntary expulsive efforts. So third, it acts as a muscle of weightlifting. So by taking deep breath, if possible, to raise the pressure inside the abdominal cavity to such an extent that it will help support the vertebral column and prevents the vertebral column flexion. This assists the post-vertebral muscles in lifting the heavy weights. And fourth, it acts as a thoracomuscular pump. So the descent of diaphragm decreases the intrathoracic pressure, and at the same time it increases the pressure inside the abdominal cavity. This pressure change compresses the inferior vena cava, and consequently its blood is forced upward into the right atrium. It's just quite a complicated topic. Just remember the main points, like it acts as a muscle of inspiration, muscle of abdominal staining, and it acts as a muscle of weightlifting, and acts as a muscle of thoracomuscular pump, and a sphincter of esophagus.